There's a hidden opioid crisis in Britain's second city. Nitazenes have entered Birmingham's drug supply.
It's going to be the new fentanyl. When it goes to the nose, it's like a bomb and your head just blows.
Nitazenes are a synthetic opioid with similar effects to heroin or fentanyl, but much deadlier due to their potency. A 2019 American crackdown on the underground manufacturing of fentanyl in China led the same chemists to start producing nitazenes instead.
They can be 10, 20, 30 times more potent than fentanyl.
Since the summer of 2023, they've killed hundreds of Brits. Freedom of Information requests revealed Birmingham is the epicentre of this hidden crisis, and overdoses are rising. Initially affecting online buyers of oxycodone and benzodiazepines, in 2023 overdoses swept through the city's heroin users.
Yeah, it is scary. A couple of my friends have died. So I've seen overdoses. A mate of mine had to put him in the ambulance because he overdosed.
And this month, warnings have been issued by London's nightclubs about blue-green pills after 2 people died from suspected nitazene overdoses. The National Crime Agency says there's never been a more dangerous time to take drugs. Most overdoses in Birmingham are taking place amongst those living in the street or in supported living HMOs, rental accommodation shared between people who aren't related, with support services like trained staff meant to be available to residents.
I was quite recently homeless, had mental health issues and led to me being homeless.
Oh, well, I'm in a HMO, it's like a shared house at the moment, so I'm not on the street, thankfully. I was on the street before, like sleeping down there, just on Digbeth, all that sort of stuff.
Drugs and alcohol, you see a lot of it. I've gone through a bit myself as well, and same in HMOs. It's just as bad, if not worse, I say, in HMOs than it is on the streets.
So I've seen overdoses. A mate of mine had to put him in the ambulance because he overdosed. Yeah, it is scary. A couple of my friends have died because of overdose.
Ryan didn't want to appear on camera, but he was living in a HMO in Birmingham in 2024 when he took nitazene-laced heroin.
I've used heroin that's had it in it, and it were like the first time I remember using it is I'd bought a 10 shot of someone, like, you know, 0.2, and I'd smoked a bit on the fork, so I always kind of smoked a bit to make sure how strong it was before I would pin it. And I remember smoking it can't have been more than like just a little bit of it, and I just fucking were on my ass straight away. And I had quite a big tolerance at the time, and I just remember like passing out basically as soon as I had it, and it just not tasting right, like it wasn't right. Smoked a little bit and it instantly like knocked me out almost, like I couldn't even really stand up. So it was completely different to what heroin would normally do to me.
Were you aware of what synthetic opioids were at the time? Had you heard of nitazenes?
I wasn't aware of what it was. I just thought it was either a really strong but I knew about fentanyl and things like that, so it worried me more thinking that's what it was at the time. But obviously, I found out because I went to needle exchanges and there started to be like posters up and stuff warning us about nitazenes being in stuff. And obviously, like, it started to become more and more like obvious that was what was going on.
Did seeing those warnings about nitazenes being in Birmingham's heroin supply, did that make you think twice before you were using heroin?
If I'm honest, no, because obviously, I couldn't see a way out of it. Like, because it was like I've been at treatment centres. Like, I'm currently in one now, trying to get clean again. And like at the time, I couldn't see a way of stopping anyway. So it was like I pretty much had no choice anyway. Because you either you get it off this person that might be selling you it with nitazenes in it, or you've got no. So there was no way to stop it.
Well, like all big cities, we have areas where people are struggling to cope with life. We have areas of high deprivation. And people who are living in those areas are the ones who are most at risk of drug-related death. In the spring of 2023, the Taliban, if we remember, had taken over Afghanistan the previous year, and the Taliban had announced that they were going to ban the poppies. And in Birmingham, the people who sell the heroin thought this might translate into an immediate shortage of heroin. So I think probably one person thought, well, I'd better get hold of some of these nitazenes. And then they would have split the heroin into the bags that were going to be sold individually to people using street heroin.
This is Simeon McAnoy and his brother Reggie. They like to play video games together. Simeon wanted to design them one day. But after a bad breakup and a shoplifting sentence spent in prison where he was introduced to spice, he spiraled into addiction. In 2023, he was aged 33 and died of an overdose of Nitazenes-laced heroin in a HMO. Here's his mum, Jackie.
He was just beautiful. He'd always tell me he loved me, kiss us. He adored Reggie. He was very protective of Reggie because Reggie's disabled.
Still does make me feel sad like that he's not here right with me and that I'm running around and that and playing on my computer with me. But he was always there, protecting me, and that always stuck up for me, and I love that about him. But I just miss him so much. And I do go down to the cemetery where he is, but it's hard because I don't really speak when I'm there. I'm just in silence because he's not there with me anymore, and I just wish he was.
I'm in survival mode since Sim died. Just staying alive is what I'm doing, is staying alive. I'm surviving, that's it. There's no laughter in the home anymore. My daughter will come home from work, she'll have a tea, she'll go to her room, she'll turn the picture of Simeon facing her and she'll just lie on her phone and think till work the next day. Reggie, he does voluntary work at a charity shop to keep him going. We don't watch TV, we don't play music. And Simeon was, he loved music. And if he came up and I said, oh, not today, we're not playing the music today, Simeon, keep the neighbours, keep the noise down, whatever, he'd hated that. And I always look back and think, why didn't I just put the music on? For goodness sake, why didn't I just put the music on? You know, I really regret all of that, and I am deeply sorry that I did not know what was out there. I didn't know Simeon was taking heroin. I didn't know in the last few weeks. I just honestly didn't know. It just looked like he'd had a drink. He was having fun, but he was also not with, you know, maybe where I'd want him to be, with the people I'd want him to be with. But I believe, well, I do know, because I've been there now, that he was living in a HMO in Handsworth, where it seems that no one's checking the property as they should be doing. One of the ladies who now lives in the flat Simeon was at, said that the dealers are at the bus stop. They're just there at the bandstand in the park. You can just walk over there. You can buy the Nitazene. She said that the heroin is for the special customers, in her words. So they get the lower form of it. She goes, but we now prefer the Nitazene.
I've been asking for 10 years to have a drug consumption room or a safe consumption site in Birmingham where people could walk in without judgment and people could make a relationship with the person. They could test their drugs and check and talk to them and discuss with them, and if the person wasn't ready to get some help that day, you could say, well, come back tomorrow and I'll see you again tomorrow. Keep giving cups of tea and chocolate biscuits and gradually making people trust that they are safe. They're not going to be locked up in prison for asking for help.
I strongly, strongly, strongly believe, because there isn't enough deaths yet, like fentanyl, we didn't hear about that till there was thousands of it. I didn't know about fentanyl till about a year ago. Now you see it all over the place and there's so many deaths. Nitazene is our new fentanyl.